Up, guys? In Arizona for another live show. A live show I thought I was never gonna do a couple of days ago when I joined Anthony on his channel on Inter Worldwide. Link for that is in the title. Go check that out. I was not expecting to. I was expecting to bring you on this channel, but not as soon. But I thought it's needed because the news is. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. First of all, thanks for joining, and how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you again. It's good to be here. And yeah, it's very hard to distinguish what is the Netflix series before I go to bed and the news that I wake up in the morning, bro.
It's uh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I know you only have half an hour, so people, if you have questions, you can ask them in the first half an hour. After that, I will just do it solo for a bit to talk about the other stuff. I'll start off with the maybe not the biggest news, but like it's news that it's kind of done deal, and that's Cuadrado, because it kind of came out of nowhere. But when the news announced, I was like, I'm not surprised one bit. Like I'm not surprised. That
Yep.
screams Pepe Marotta. That actually screams Cuadrado, because Juve fans are all over the place. I will talk about that. But your first reaction, signing Cuadrado, 2 mil is his wage, 1 year deal apparently. So, what do you make of that?
I called this the least surprising transfer I've witnessed in
Yeah,
my
I saw that.
25 years as an Inter fan. It was so predictable. I've got screenshots of me calling it in February. I've got screenshots of my other friend Uncle Sharma calling it 5 minutes after he said that he would be a free agent. This was coming from a country mile away. Whether it makes it easier to process for Inter fans, I'm not too sure because of the whole Coppa Italia debacle at the end of the season, which ironically enough features the player that could be representing you in your shirt. There's no way to explain what's going on without laughing at it a little bit. But I would say that there is a very short list of pros for Inter for signing Cuadrado. There is a much longer list of cons. I'm happy to just briefly talk about them. I think that losing players like Onana and Brozovic means we need players to contribute to build up play. We've got a very athletic man on the right hand side, Denzel Dumfries, but his touch is not good. His ability to dribble and contribute to the build up play is not good. So, from a technical standpoint and a wage standpoint, I see where it makes sense, but that's where it stops. That's where it stops. I don't see why we had to go in for this player. I don't see why we had to try and bring him over from you guys. I don't know if it's another attempt to keep the bad blood boiling. He's not a legend for Juve, no matter what some fans think, in my opinion. I managed to catch the first half of one of your videos 2 days ago, and you said the words that pretty much most of the Juve fans that I know personally would say. But these days online, it's a little bit different. If you're going to put Cuadrado in the legends category, you're effectively placing him alongside Del Piero, alongside Nedved, and a couple of others. And in my opinion, I just don't. I'm not a Juve fan, so I can't say that. But in my opinion, I don't think that that is correct, and I think that you would agree with me
Yeah.
for the most part. So my reaction to Cuadrado coming to Inter, I would ask why, but I know exactly why. It doesn't matter what I think. It's just the way football goes. And this is one of those deals where you're going to be able to come back at the end of next season and either say it was good or bad, but you won't really know that answer until you know. So that's my honest opinion on it, man.
Yeah, like I can. I don't want to discourage you, but it's probably gonna be bad.
Mm.
Like he has been, and I like Cuadrado. Like I've always liked him, but his last 2 seasons have been terrible. Like, and I'm being very nice. It was really really bad. It was up to a point where he was costing us games.
Yep.
He was putting us in trouble on a consistent basis. 5 minutes into the Sevilla game away from home, and he almost cost us a goal. Like it was really bad, and the drop off was insane. The drop off started the previous season, so not the last season, the season before, when we went away to Napoli and he came back from international break very late and he played, and from there on, from that moment, it was downhill really really quickly, and it got worse week by week, and like when he left, I was like, yes, he needed to leave. I'm actually a bit surprised that he took that less of money because he had €8 million offers, from the Saudi league and all those things. So He really wants to stay in Italy, so maybe that is a
Yep.
pro for you. Like he actually wants to be there. On the point that Juve fans are freaking out, like I said in my video, I never viewed him as a legend, so it doesn't really hurt me. If Buffon joined Inter or or Chiellini joined Inter or Del Piero joined it, like then I'm like, wow, what is happening? And the same goes for Bonucci when now the club, slammed the hammer and said you're done. Train on your own. You need to find another club. And people are like, oh, that's disrespectful. He's a legend. I'm like, he played for Milan. Like he celebrated a goal in our stadium. It's
Yep.
done. Those are not legends. You might call them icons because they contribute. Jesus Christ, they played a big part in our winning cycle, and I respect that. But that's it. So when the news came out, I was very relaxed. I was very chill because I'm not mad. I get why he doesn't want to leave the country. He's very happy there, so I get it. Um, and it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, Inter got him. Like we let him go for a very good reason. I was actually scared that at one point we were gonna give him a new deal because of Allegri, and that's also maybe a bad thing for you because Allegri loved Cuadrado, and even he couldn't get anything out of him for the last 2 seasons. That was my most surprising thing the last couple of seasons. Like he's one of his players, and he got worse and worse and worse and worse. Um, what you say on Dumfries, I agree. Like I don't, I'm never like I would never, I'm never, I've never been a big fan of Dumfries. Like not even when he played in the Dutch league. I watch that league every week. I don't see a great player in him. Like when Manu came in last summer, I was like, take that money and run with it. Do it. Um, you're gonna get frustrated with Cuadrado when he gets on the ball in the final third, because the last 2 seasons he looked lost. When he reaches the edge of the box, he looks lost. Like he doesn't know what to do. Most of the time, he just cuts inside usually, but the difference is he doesn't go past his player anymore. It's very frustrating to see. For us fans, it was even worse because we are on one side with Alexandro, and the other side we had Cuadrado doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm not sure if he's gonna really offer you that much, but I get the deal. Like you said, it's 2 million. You needed a backup, and it's very cheap. It's there. It's free. You can focus on getting the goalkeeper in. Obviously, getting a striker in now. Apparently, so I get that deal. Next question, because I need to ask that question because all Inter fans hate Cuadrado.
Mm.
How are you? How are you gonna cope with that? Because we're gonna talk about another guy in a minute, and that's for me. Then that question will be for me. But how are you gonna cope? Because you probably dislike Cuadrado. Playing against him, I know how he is. Like I know how he can be, and we've seen how he can be.
It's going to be tough. It takes a really, really dislikable player to make you not want him to succeed, even in your own colors. At the end of the day, I'm an Inter fan first and foremost. I need to see them win. If it Cuadrado's back, comes off Cuadrado's back. But like you said, in the last couple of seasons, his end product and his ability to beat a man and produce an end product in the final third has been nil to void. And I don't see how that's going to change for us. I do think that this represents a band-aid stopgap solution to the right back,
Yeah.
right wing back position for us because I do think we have intentions to move Denzel Dumfries on. I don't think he is prolific enough to succeed in Serie A. I don't think he's adaptable enough. I think that much is evident. He's a flair player that will exceed and excel very well in a league with open space. And we're just hanging out for an offer from England. I've maintained that for a year now. We are hanging out for an offer from England for Dumfries. And this is another Beppe Marotta way to make sure that, there's a band-aid over the crack just in case we do need to sell that player. No, not that we need to sell that player. We need to sell almost every player at the moment. It's still just damage control to make sure that we don't lose the likes of Barella, Bastoni, and Lautaro. We've already seen us lose almost everybody else that won that Scudetto with us in the 2021, 2020-21 season. I'm not going to cheer for Cuadrado, so to speak, but it's not like I'm not going to celebrate if he contributes to a goal or something of the sort. I'm hoping that this one year is the only year that it happens. but yeah, it's modern football, man. And as a fan watching it 26,000 kilometers away in Australia, all I can do is take a sit back, accept the things that you are powerless to change, and just watch the show.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's why I repeat myself so many times on this channel. The last jersey with a name on I got is Marquisio, and that's like
Yeah.
8 years ago, maybe. And actually, that was a gift. Like I didn't buy it myself, you know. And I got a Chiellini one as well as a gift, you know. But that was like a late gift. I don't buy like I actually don't buy jerseys because I don't like the design. But when names on, it's a no go for me. You know, like Julian,
Yeah.
who's also part of the channel. He has a Ramsey jersey, Kulusevski jersey. That's his problem, and and he knows. But these things happen, you know, and I'm not even surprised. I'm not mad, you know. I'm come to terms with how football is these days, and I'm actually very calm with it. You know, he gave us quite a lot in the first seasons. I appreciate him, and that's that. Time was up. It was not good enough anymore, and that's that. But like I said, like the way I started the video, I'm not surprised. You know, when the news came out, I was like, yeah. I was actually waiting until that rumor popped up because he was
Yep.
linked to Saudi Arabia, and I'm like, where is Inter? You know, because I'm expecting Inter in that deal. You know, I saw Roma sometimes, but I'm like, I don't think he's joining Roma. Where's an Inter then? Yeah, I mean, out of nowhere, you might say, but I think he was waiting for that offer all along. Um,
Mm.
Now let's move on to maybe the bigger news or the bigger story, and that's
Oh yeah.
Lukaku, because last week I was on your show. I kind of slated him. I was like, I'm not going to change my opinion. And like 2 weeks before that, or 3 weeks, Corriere dello Sport came out with that news, late breaking news on the evening. And I told the chat, I'm like, yeah, brush that aside. Like, that's absolutely not happening. There's no possibility. There's nothing in that story. And, you know, here I am, mid July, and I need to talk about it because it's serious. Before I talk about my perspective on that thing, what do you make of the entire story? Because you ended like you said, player, I don't like him, like technically on the field. As a player, person, I do like him. He gets his goals in Serie A, all those things, and I thought we all agree like that deal is gonna happen. You know, he's gonna join Inter, and then
Yeah.
boom, this very confusing story.
So I'm trying to remember, when we teed up on my channel a week ago, were we still just brushing this to the side like it was a nothing rumor? And then it all pretty much changed about 24 hours after we linked up?
Yeah, yeah, like we didn't even mention him join. Like we
Yeah.
touched on it, but like it was like, yeah, like it's
Whatever.
whatever, you know. It's Inter, and now it's crazy. And like I'm still telling myself it's not true, but I cannot be an idiot, you know. Like there's truth in it because if it wasn't for like if it was only the Saudis that makes him, you know, doubtful about joining Inter, then he just would have told Inter, you know, guys, I got a better offer from the Saudis. Like you don't need to be, you don't need to keep that a mystery. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
story is like apparently it's dating back from the Champions League final because he wasn't gonna play. He knew that all those things. What do you make of that story?
This
Because it's kind of intense.
Bro, this guy was injured for like
I
65% of
know.
the season, 70% of the season. So I don't even know if it's true that the rumors that are coming out is that he was disgruntled about the Champions League or if he was talking since before the Champions League. This is a very silly time of the year, and it gets more and more silly each and every year. It gets more and more bizarre. Like there is no integrity anymore in the journalistic world. There's none. It's just recycling of whatever rumor comes out of the hat and the cause and effect that came behind it. And I'm the same as you, man. There's something in the back of my head that's telling me that this isn't even a go. Like it wasn't even close to being a go. I think I'm more inclined to believe that Juve put a bid in for Lukaku to completely defer Inter away from signing Lukaku because the continuity of Lukaku being in Inter could have been a problem for other teams in Serie A. I know technically he's not the best player, and I can already see, some of your more optimistic fans in the chat saying, Lukaku's all right, he's good, he'll get you 20 goals a season. But what everyone needs to know is that this guy needs to be padded physically, mentally, and emotionally, and needs
Yeah.
momentum like a full-blown rocket train. This isn't the sort of guy that rocks up one day and has a good couple of games and plays himself into form. The stars and the planets all need to align for him to even remotely get back to the point that you want him to be at. And that's where he was at with Inter. You can't go to Everton fans and ask if they respect Lukaku. They'll say no. You can't ask Man United fans. You can't ask Chelsea fans. This is the same way that you were saying it to me the other day. And you could give an even better opinion on me because you're from Belgium, right? What's just a little side note, because I don't think we touched on this last time you were on my channel. What's the consensus of him in terms of national team fans?
I want to, like, if you asked me that 2 years ago, I would say, like, it's 60-40. 60 likes him. Now it's flipped because even today, like, the news came out and, like, people were coming, like, players were checking in at J Medical to do their routine tests, and the fans are there and they were singing songs, "We don't want Lukaku," and that news got picked up by the Belgian media.
Yeah.
And all the reactions were like, yeah, he got what he deserved, and this, like, he, like I said, like, he is very media obsessed. Like, if he, like, it can be a fan channel putting out an article. If he sees that, he will jump on it. Like, he's too obsessed with it. He's too busy with what others think. Then but he sets a standard. Like he said, I'm one of the top strikers in the world. If you don't live up to it, don't blame the media for jumping on it, because you spread the bet. Now just lay in it, because you say these things, not the media, not us. That's my issue with him. Is acting off the field, like the things he says. I don't like. It makes no sense, because also, like, when he did that interview, he said, "No, never Juve and Milan." I'm like, buddy, you were very close to joining Juve if Dybala just said yes.
Yeah.
Like, and we know, like that was well documented over here in Belgium. He wanted to join Juve. He was pushing for that move. It didn't happen. Everybody knows that. It didn't happen. I'm fine with it. But he overstates things too much, and that's my issue. But like, because I said it, like, on your channel, I had a feeling that Inter fans are not split, but, like, there's a part of the fan base were, like, not really warming up to him after what happened with Chelsea. But now I think, now it's obviously it's done right. Like, there's no way back.
Yeah. So if you ask a lot of our fans throughout the season that just passed, it was still very much split, and I was very much a vocal leader for the Lukaku do not come back, Lukaku stay in London brigade, because I know what his limitations are, I know how old he is, and I know what sort of mental baggage he comes with, and that's going to come around every single season. You're not going to get a drama-free Lukaku. And then, like everybody else, the emotional side of football tends to reel you in and pull you in. And we finished the season from March onwards extremely strong. We look like we have a very powerful number 9 there, looking to relieve minutes of a 37-year-old Bosnian who I am a huge fan of. You cannot buy and replace class like Edin Dzeko anymore. And the Champions League final rolls around, and, football is football. I've been following this for 5 years. I will never blame someone for missing something, even a blade of grass out from a goal. It happens. A better player might have scored it, but bottom line, it happens. It can happen at any point in time. Those are not defining moments to who you are as a player to me. But what defines you is your treatment and your respect towards a club that has done so much for you as well, and we sent you to Chelsea. Yeah, all right, we got a very big bag for it. We got a lot of money for it. Let's not pretend that we didn't get a lot of money for it. But the player power and the agent power in this situation is it's dangerous. It's dangerous, brother, because how do you allow Chelsea to spend that much money, and how do you behave like that? And then we took him back in because, yes, the behavior, as obviously disrespectful as it was, benefited us. So we had to hold up our hand and go, we're going to be a little bit egotistical here, and we're going to take him back because it benefits us in every way, shape, or form. What I called it the other day on my channel was the spiritual awakening for the other side of the fan base, because this now is the closed book. And if what we're hearing is true, is that we did find out that he was talking to you guys. Our directors found out, Auxilio called him, and within 30 seconds, the phone call was over. That means that everybody behind the door at Inter, including our very incompetent owner, finally snapped and said, hold up. There is way too much nostalgia. There is way too much emotional attachment here, man. You didn't win that Scudetto 6 months ago. You won it 2.5 years ago. And almost the entire core of that team is now gone. 7 of your 11 starters are no longer there. The manager's not there. The assistant manager's not there. The fitness coach isn't there. And the 2 backroom physical strength and conditioning coaches aren't there. This is not the same team. All it does is wear the same colors and wear the same badge. We need to drastically move on from anything attached to that. And Romelu Lukaku is a really easy piece of the pie to throw away. The last remaining players from there are the ones that belong at Inter: Bastoni, Barella, to a slightly lesser degree Lautaro, but I'm more than happy with Lautaro. The problem now is that Romelu Lukaku is, and the problem for I dare say, is that he's now training in London with nobody. That Chelsea team is already en route to the USA. There's no manager or anything, man. In my final opinion, Inter's cut ties. They're out. The fans are very upset and disgruntled. I'm not a massive supporter of the Ultras, nor am I against them, so to speak. But it seems a little weird to protest the signing of Cuadrado when you've done absolutely nothing about watching Onana leave, Skriniar not getting re-signed,
Yeah.
the Lukaku situation again. You know, there have been more than enough reasons warranted to go and protest. I don't know why they're starting now. My last question to you, and this has been such a fun tee up, man, is do you think that Juve are working overtime to pull the plug in the background now that the flex has paid off a little bit?
That's the only thing keeping me going. Yeah, I don't want Lukaku. Like I've said, like if he joins, like I'm gonna support him because I want to win. So I'm not hoping he flops. You know, it is what it is. Like you said, like you live across the world. Like what are you gonna do about it? But I don't want Lukaku, and it sounds great. You know, it sounds fantastic. Oh, they did this too, but I think it's too far. You know, I don't think we have done that. I still believe he's not gonna join. I still like it doesn't make sense. You know, he doesn't fit like with the fans, with
Yeah.
everything. Like it makes no sense. Like it, and people say, oh, look at Higuain. It's not the same. We didn't have beef with Higuain. You know, the fans, like it wasn't the same. You know,
Wasn't.
people disliked him because he was great. Actually, he was fantastic. He was unbelievable. You know, one of the best strikers in Italy I've seen in a very long time. Like he was, like he broke records, unbelievable. That was kind of the hate love relationship. But this is different. Like this is different. Like I don't see him rocking up at the stadium, you know, and just being the starting. Like I the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it doesn't fit. And I'm not sure what got into his head because he's actually really thinking about it. Like even Belgian sources are reporting it and confirming it that it's not a fake story. He's actually thinking about it. Allegri kind of convinced him that, you know, come here and you will be my guy if we sell Vlahovic, and that's what's holding me back. Chelsea, like they're not gonna wait until PSG put the money on the table for Vlahovic. When they got the money from Inter and they probably get the money from a Saudi team,
Yeah.
the only thing that's pulling me back again is if he wanted to join the Saudi league, he would have done that by now. No, like
Yeah.
he would have done that by now. So I do believe he's actually waiting. But for some reason, I still think that deal will fall through. And maybe it's just false hope because I don't want Lukaku. I'd like age 30, 40 million euros. Like that money is gone. You're never going to see that money again.
No.
It makes no
You
sense.
can't get it back. You can't resell him for more than
No,
that. I know some fans are optimistic
no,
about
no,
it, but
no,
I'm
no, no,
like,
no.
dude, like he's done at top level. You can't sell him for more than 30, 40 after this.
I think it's a waste of money. I think it's a
Mm.
waste of money. And I know people in the chat are saying, and I'm putting out a name there because that's the name out there. Jonathan David from Lille. And I'm not saying sign him, whatever. It's 60 mil, apparently. And Juntli wants him. I'm like, you get your money back, you know, unless Allegri completely destroys him. You can get money out of it if it actually doesn't really work. You can get money out of it. His wages will be much cheaper. I would rather do that. And you might say that's not going to work with Allegri. Fine, but I'm actually praying Allegri's not going to be here after this season
Yeah.
because I don't think it's going to be a big improvement. But Lukaku is done. Like if Allegri fails, the next manager comes in. If it's not Conte, Lukaku is done as well, and you're stuck with him. Like that's what I'm thinking. Going off the last 2 seasons, I don't think we're just gonna flip the switch and be a title contender. Like I don't see it happening. So he needs to do the bare minimum, top four. Then you probably will say. But if he fails completely, and the next coach is not Conte, which I also I don't want Conte back. You're stuck with Lukaku, and 8 out of the 10 times, maybe 9 out of the 10 times, that coach coming in is like, I don't want Lukaku, because it's a very specific player you need to cater to in the way you play. And Allegri will do that, and he'll probably do pretty decent for us. But if it fails, we are in a very we're already in a bad situation, but you are in a very, very bad situation if it fails. Like, it's a big risk.
100%. And, even if there's plans to bring Conte back, which I've heard a lot of Juve fans talk about as well, I go, well, what's the plan there? Because that sounds a little bit unhealthy that you're sort of
Yeah.
planning for this in the background while Allegri's there making footballing decisions. And if it is, which I don't think it is, because I think it actually goes against the grain of what, the professionalism inside of your club should actually do. But if he does come back, well, he's got his Romelu Lukaku at 32 years old, 31 and a half years old. That's 5 years after he had the best version of Romelu Lukaku. No offense to some of the Juve fans, but I don't think Antonio Conte is thinking about coming back to Juve as much as the media brings it out to say. The guy looks like he's enjoying his time, and I'd be looking to go in a different direction if I were you guys. The same as my club. I don't want to see us going back to anybody remotely close to our past. It should all be about moving forward, man. All be about finding new directions. There is nothing permanent in this world but change. And that's how you get the best out of young players. That's how you get the best out of players who are scared to lose their positions in starting lineups. You need to keep things fresh, man. You can't revert back to old systems and old ways, because that's sort of how Serie A in Italy has gotten into the mess that it's in at the moment.
That I agree with that, and I know you need to go. This question is for you, and it kind of is what you just say. Will you take Conte back at Inter?
Oh God, no, 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 no. We can't do that. We can't do that, man. Just our club, as beautiful as I think our club is, I've never seen my club as having a tough backbone / spine to deal with difficult personalities. We just don't do it very, very well. We maintain sort of a good guy image internally, and we like to paint the other person as the one at fault, whether or not they are at fault to the extent of someone as Mauro Icardi, or whether they're not as at fault to the point of complaining Antonio Conte. I'm a little bit sick of the drama, man. I'm a little bit sick of the drama, and having Conte back would just be way too much drama. And at the end of the day, I know he's got his limits, but I like Inzaghi. I think Inzaghi is a young, progressive, forward-thinking coach, and I think that when Inzaghi leaves Inter and goes somewhere else, he'll do very well there as well. Winning the league is a bit of a stretch, but he's still young. I'm more than happy to keep going with someone like Inzaghi rather than going back to someone like Conte. That's for sure, man.
Yeah, I've said it many times. I don't want old things back. Like, I didn't really want
Yeah.
Pogba back. I don't want Conte back. I didn't even want Allegri back. I want something new. Like, you've done it,
Yep.
move on. Like, there's a reason you moved on. Maybe because it wasn't good enough. There was an issue. Somebody else thought he was better than the club or whatever. Fine, I'm okay with it. But when it's done, it's done, and
100%.
just get it over with and move on to new things. Because I think that's
For
always
sure.
the best thing.
For sure.
Otherwise, you get into a thing like in a moment it can't, like, and you, like I said, there's a reason why things ended. Don't bring that back. Like Allegri, it ended on not playing well, results not going our way, and well, it's a state. It got actually worse. So
Yep.
that's that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go because it's half an hour. Thanks for joining. We'll probably get you on a few more times, or I will join you because
Definitely.
things will happen preseason, or like season kicks off. So we'll talk about that moving forward. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I will see you again anytime soon. Thanks for freeing up because I know it's AM for you. it's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
No, it's my favorite time to tee up, man. My brain's fresh and ready to go. I wish I had more time because I love linking up with you. Thank you to you. Thank you to everybody in the chat. It was a very, very, very friendly chat. I really like your channel, man. I've been watching it for half a yeah, even more than that now, and I like watching other content creators. So if anybody in the chat, I know that it's enemy trenches, enemy lines, but if you're looking to get some Inter news from a very unbiased point of view, definitely come over to Inter Worldwide and check me and the rest of my crew out because it's very similar. You'll hear it raw and authentic from us. No papering over anything, no glossing over anything. If something's not good at Inter, we are going to stress about it and whinge about it. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that's good viewing for all of you guys. The same way it's great viewing for me. When I hear things popping off at Casa Milan or things popping off at Juve, I don't really go to the headlines, man. I go to the content creators because, we love our clubs and we definitely love all our fans that support us as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you walk. Thanks again for joining, and see you again very soon.
Great.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, everyone in the chat.
I'm gonna keep going a little bit for a little while. Let me set that up. I'm gonna keep it going for a while because DiMarcio's gonna speak in a few minutes, so maybe he has some updates on what's gonna happen. Again, that was Anthony. Show him some love. Subscribe to the channel if you are in for Inter news or updates because he speaks very well and he doesn't do the cheerleader thing, which I don't like. And he's very straightforward, good guy. So show him some support. He will be back on the channel a few more times, and also during the seasons, during the season, excuse me, when we will play him, and maybe when we sign another Inter player or they sign another Juve player, who will be back on. Quick roundup from today's news day because I didn't do a daily. There will be a daily extra. I'm pretty sure Julian will do one. I still need to prep it, but let's see what DiMarzo will speak. But actually, very quiet day. I was expecting a little bit more news, but nothing really came out yesterday. If we're being completely honest, it was a very slow news day. It was a very, yeah, man. The only news that actually came out today was that Arthur is very close to joining Fiorentina. Like I said in a previous video, it will be along with an option around 70 mil. That's what it will cost on the books next season, to not make a financial loss, basically. So the option to buy him for Fiorentina is going to be around the 70 million euro. The only issue is now the wages because he's on 5.5, 6.5. Fiorentina want us apparently to pay more than 50%. Juve only want to pay 50%. That's the issue now, and let's see how that will be resolved because I've said it. That's going to be the main issue with Arthur. Like he didn't play actually the season before when he was with us. He didn't really play as well. It's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue that's going to linger on until you sell him. But he's close to Fiorentina. I'm actually surprised that he's joining Fiorentina. Like that came out of nowhere. Like Fiorentina, Arthur. Hope he does well, and hope. Sorry, I was checking news, and hopefully Fiorentina buy him because that's good. That's very good. So that's actually the biggest news of today. No updates on Lukaku. No updates really on Kessie. An update from Mirko Di Natale is that it's very, very likely that Conny de Winter is going to stay with the club, which kind of makes sense. If you don't have money, if you're not willing to spend money, Bonucci is gone. Bonucci spoke. He wants to stay. Sky Italia around 10 p.m. was talking about Bonucci trying to convince Allegri, and Allegri is going to say no because he said it's done. So that's still going on. But other than that, very quiet news day. Very surprised that it's been that quiet. I was expecting a little bit more. So I'm actually waiting on Di Marzio actually telling me something we didn't know or didn't come out today. Because we leave on pre-season tour in a couple of days. I'm actually still confused on which day we play. Is it the 23rd? Because on the Juve, on apps, it says 22nd for me. And then on the Juve website, it says 23rd Sunday morning for me. But we play our first pre-season game on Sunday morning. The updates are that Pogba is going to travel but not going to play because he's still not fit, which is unbelievable but true. Actually, it's not unbelievable, but it's still kind of weird. The club wants to leave Fagioli at the Continassa with his shoulder issue. He's not going to play. They want him to prep, you know, consistently, like traveling. I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. I think it's a good idea that he will stay here. That's that. Other than that, way I was back in training, or like is in training for the first time. So all the guys are traveling, including Vlahovic, including Chiesa, who came back today, including Bremer, who's been there for a couple of days. But even on Vlahovic, no real update. You know, the news changed twice today. That's why I didn't tweet it out, because around 6 p.m. The news was PSG are not in for Vlahovic and Keane, and 1 hour later, Harry Kane said, "If I'm leaving, it's Bayern Munich or nothing, and PSG are back in for Vlahovic." So that news is not true. If they're in for Vlahovic, they were in for Vlahovic. It didn't change in the space of 1 hour. So nothing. You know, I was moving. Nico Shira saying, oh, that was somebody saying in the chat. Nico Shira saying, expecting meeting tomorrow afternoon in Milano between Inter and Morata's agent. Inter are willing to offer a 4-year contract and 50 million euros for Atletico for Morata. Again, if Morata joins Inter, people will cry. I will not cry because I couldn't care less. I don't consider those guys legends, so I'm not too fussed about it. But for our sake, we need to speed things up now. Like I said, 3 days and a month from now, I'm doing a match reaction for the Udinese game, and I saw the potential lineup from Di Mart, so it is what it is. But like, it's the same lineup. it's just way out dropped into it. Other than that, it said Pogba. It's probably not gonna happen. It's the same lineup. Nothing changed, and that's a big worrying sign because things needed to change, and if they're not changing, we have an issue. You know, we have a big time issue. So expecting this week to be big, but if it's gonna be as slow as today, then obviously it's not gonna be big, is it? Do you think the board knows anything when it comes to our priorities in the squad? Like obviously needing good defenders and fullbacks, that kind of stuff. Um, Going off the news, not really. Or we are completely wrong. That could also be the case, but we've been linked with center backs. Uh, Center backs only once, and it was Laporte, which kind of feels like a long shot. You know, the only real news out there about center backs is Connie de Winter saying, which I wouldn't mind, to be honest, but like still. Broke my ankle next week. Oh, that's bad. Hope you get better soon. And it happened during my holiday. Still has That's less depressing than seeing the horrible Juve news every single day. Well, I cannot argue that. Actually, Anthony said that he's training with Chelsea on his own. He needed to show up today. He didn't really show up, or he had an agreement with Chelsea because he's in Belgium training. So he's in his hometown training. So he's not even at Chelsea, apparently. Arthur looks so talented at Barca. What the fuck happened to this guy? You can blame coaching, but he looks like a very bad player, if you're being completely honest. You know, he looks very confused in possession. He looks very slow. You can dispossess him. You can, if you put pressure on him, that's my biggest issue. He looks so confused, and it can be against Benevento. It can be against Inter away from home. He looks confused when you put pressure on him, and I'm not sure what that is all about. Dragosin looked good, great with Genoa last season in Serie B. Do we have a buyback clause? No, he's gone. Excuse me, he's gone completely. I think it was 7.5 million plus bonuses apparently. He's gone. Let's see if that will translate it in Serie A, because that's a big step. Let me check this. Thanks everyone for watching. By the way, also get the likes up. Only 23 likes, 40 people in. So please like the video if you haven't. Also, if you want to join the members club and join the prediction league, that's gonna kick off very soon. It's not gonna be predictions on Juve only. We're gonna spice it up this season. It's gonna be bigger, more fun, more prizes, and you can help out the channel so we can improve as well. Appreciate every single support, but we're giving back. Obviously, you can win a jersey, gift cards for the Juve store, and even fourth and fifth place get something, and that's one of our shirts. So if you're considering doing that, link for that underneath. You can join the Discord member chat. If you do, reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram, or click the Discord link and message me on Discord, and I will add you to the private members group. Yeah. Still nothing from Di Marzio. Sanchez, Renato Sanchez linked to Roma, but for us, nothing really. Um yeah, man, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm so confused with the Lukaku news, by the way. Um, I, I cannot accept it. Like, I cannot accept it. The more I think about it, the more I dislike the move. You know, the more I'm like, I don't want that. Um, it's like the money as well. Like, forget the player or the person. Like the money involved, like 40 million euros, when we are very low in cash and we need so many things to be sorted out, and we need to think about the future as well. I don't feel that move. I don't feel it. And from his perspective, it's more confusing. Why would he want to join? Like Anthony said, and he's right. Like he's a player who needs validation from the fans, from the media. Well, you can forget that from the fans, because like I'm gonna say 90% of the fan base absolutely dislike him. No, there's a portion of the fan base who are actually okay on board with bringing him in, but what happened last season, all those things, like it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right, does it? You know, um, it's it's confusing. Like it's very confusing. Um, I cannot say why he thinks this is a good idea. Now saying Lukaku will be class for us. Like I'm not disputing that he will be terrible or for us, or that he will not be good for us. I'm not disputing that, by the way, because you can still score 20 goals and we can be having a terrible season and Allegri could be sacked or whatever, and you're stuck with him because he's a player. You need to play in a specific way, otherwise, it's not gonna work. That's my biggest issue. I don't really want to build my setup or a team to cater to Lukaku when you have a player like Chiesa on your team as well. Like I don't think that's a good idea. That's my issue. That's absolutely my issue. Um, but yeah, Dimarcho's actually not dropping anything. If news drops, Julian will cover it in the Daily Extra that will drop tomorrow. He will cover the latest updates. So stay tuned for that as well. I'm gonna wrap this one up. If you haven't liked the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, consider joining the members club and support the channel. And we will be back, or I will be back tomorrow live, same time. Also, we will do a watch along for the first pre-season game. For me, it's a Sunday. For a lot of people, that will probably be Saturday evening. For me, it's Sunday morning. But we will be live. We've done it last summer. It was fun. It was depressing, but we had a good laugh. So we will be back for the watch along. So stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening again.